Ladies and gentlemen, this is the show you've been dying to see. It is the BadCatz Sports Podcast, Week 7 NFL Review Show. Also, with the side dish of the Boston Red Sox, with the side dish of Paul Pierce, whether he belongs in the NBA top 75, and another side dish of Tom Brady, who is the closest thing to a superhero we have in this country, my brother. Did you see Tom Brady hand that ball to that kid? Was that unbelievable or not? Did you see it at all, Birdie?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a term years ago for Rodgers Starbuck. They called him Captain America. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
There's a new Captain America now, and that's number 12.
So we got a lot to talk about first and foremost. But let's talk about some things that are going on in the world of sports right now. We got the World Series going on, right?
Yep.
And you know those executives from Major League Baseball did not want to see the Atlanta Braves and the Houston Astros playing one another in this thing. They could have had a bi-coastal World Series with two of the most famous brands in all the sports that would bring the casual observer, right? That would bring the casual observer in front of the TV set.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to watch it if I decide to gamble on it through the Rhode Island Sportsbook, by the way. We're coming to you as a sponsor, so there's your name drop right there. Then I might watch it a little more. However, certainly not what Major League Baseball ordered. We talked about this a little bit on the way tonight to get to Seabra. Tell me a little bit about it, Birdie.
Well, you look at the big markets, like you mentioned, New York, the Yankees, the Dodgers specifically were the big team that was expected to be there. And then you got even Chicago, the White Sox, and you got all three of them out. I mean, the executives would have tolerated maybe one small market team or middle market team, but two, you know that they're not happy about that.
No, it is. And then you have the scarlet letter of cheating, where if you read on Facebook, people, are just like, they're not down with Houston. There's a map of, I think it's 48 states that are rooting for Atlanta in this one. And this is something that the Astros in their franchise is going to have to deal with for a while.
Forever?
Maybe.
I think so.
You know what I mean? Maybe. Now, allegations, Birdman, of them cheating again with whistles, but you shot that down in a blink of an eye.
Well, I didn't hear the allegations. I'm going by what you told me.
Yeah.
And then I shot it down.
Whistles. They were whistling.
I shot it down because of the manager, Dusty Baker, who's been an icon in the game, who's a well-respected guy, and I don't believe that Dusty Baker would be involved in any of this.
And that's a good enough reason. I wouldn't think Dusty Baker would tarnish his distinguished. Not many people have served the game of baseball as honorable as Dusty Baker has, from a top flight player for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Am I correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. To a manager,
24 years.
Who's been a manager for 20 years, and a guy with a reputation, without question, and a guy who was beloved by most baseball people. There is the allegations of the is that the allegations of the cheatings right there?
Yeah, some people were saying that it was also like blinking lights as well. So there was like blinking, I don't know, it's just saying it's all Boston fans and like Red Sox broadcasters. So how true could it be? Maybe we're just salty because we lost. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
but I wouldn't put it past them for cheating again. You cheat once. Why would I want? Why would
They have to have gigantic balls
to do it again?
They would have to
Not
have.
with Dusty. No, I don't see it.
All right. Well, hold up. All right, time out. Listen to me. It's clearly possible because
It is.
I'm going to say another athlete that has crazy balls. Who's that hockey player? Kane?
Van de Kane.
Evander
San
Kane?
Jose, yeah.
That crazy son of a bitch, right, is under domestic and sex allegations, right?
Well, he's under domestic abuse, and I believe gambling allegations.
Okay, I missed.
Yeah.
So pretty. First of all, we know this. Domestic violence is a priority in NFL, and gambling has always been a priority to enforce in any sport. Look what they did to P. Rose. Look what they did to Alex Karras and Paul Horning. Okay, we know the stories. Okay, but to have that kind of baggage and to have the balls to try to fix a vaccination card.
Yeah, I did hear a little bit about that.
He got busted.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, do they understand? I shared a very personal memory with you about the levels of professional sports security. Remember I told you about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
There's nothing to play around with.
No, not with all the money involved nowadays and the type of people that they got
it's crazy.
Conducting these surveillances.
But to have the balls to do that, to while under investigation by the league, to try to pass a phony vaccination is absolutely mind-blowing to me.
Well, I believe he's under suspension for the first 20 games.
25, I believe.
And now this, with this coming out, it's a big distraction if he's going to be coming back to that team anytime soon. So we'll see how it plays out.
But some people are. My point is, some people are crazy enough. But I would think, I think Riley made the best point about it. This is coming from some salty Red Sox fans, and until it gets a little bit more broad interest in inquiries, we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it right there. Okay? COVID starting to wreak havoc on the NFL. Okay? Continuing, I should probably say. Devontae Adams, arguably the best wide receiver in football, and what's his face's Aaron Rodgers, number one target on a team that is contending to be Super Bowl champions, going into a team against an undefeated Arizona Cardinals on a Thursday night. Not a good sign. Also, the defensive coordinator, Barry, for the Packers is out. The head coach from the Chicago Bears, Nagy, may be out.
Wow, I didn't know that.
As this is something that is just getting some serious shelf life. What do we got there, Rouse?
Nothing, I'm just trying to start something real quick.
All right.
Yeah, well, hopefully it doesn't spread anymore. If you got two people on Green Bay now, hopefully that they can stop it there and it doesn't start to spread through the whole locker room.
Well, they said
they have a big problem.
They said they're implementing protocols from a year ago. They're really, really worried about even playing this game on Thursday now. It's crazy. And now it's Forfeitville, right?
It was last year. I don't know if they've modified any of the rules if it starts to get widespread. But contact tracing, you can be possibly out, and that game's only a couple of days away. So I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
Well, so COVID continues to wreak its ugly head. Oh boy.
Biggest thing about that is, I mean, are these guys vaccinated? That's the question I have. Because if you're not vaccinated,
most of them are, but not all of them. I believe, because I think it wasn't mandated for the NFL, but a lot of them were vaccinated.
Well, if they're not vaccinated, then shame on them for not. I know I understand it's a personal decision, but I mean you're talking about your livelihood here, so we'll see.
Yeah, we certainly will. Speaking of livelihood,
yeah, they said they could forfeit games if they for unvaccinated players.
Speaking of livelihood, somebody somewhere. And Riley would probably tell you about this because he's in this hustle as well, as many young kids are. Riley, not necessarily with the sneakers, more with the WWE and Marvelous Up figurines, but Air Jordan sneakers sell for $1.47 million. Riley, talk to me about this, brother.
This is everything. Everything collectible is just going through the roof. And sneakers, I don't understand it personally, but some people won't understand me collecting figures. But I really just don't understand why people collect shoes. Because, as soon as I put them on and start wearing them, they lose value instantly. Do you know what I mean? I could take a figure out and, play with it, but be super careful, which I don't play with my figures, but I could play with it and not lose its value. But, sneakers, as soon as you wear them, you have to, tiptoe around, walk flat-footed. But sneakers are so big with everybody. Kids my age, kids
shoes.
younger than me. You see it nowadays. Kids my age and parents who are like maybe like 6 years older than me start buying their kids Jordans at like 2 months old.
Crazy. It's
and
crazy.
like, why are you buying your kid $40 pair of shoes? He's gonna outgrow it in 2 weeks. Like they buy Jordans they make Jordans this big. They make Jordans like this big.
It's crazy.
Shoes are like probably the most collectible things in the world. They sell out like that.
And you know what's crazy? And I told you a story about we had a contract with Reebok, the pump, and we kicked the pump out. But we were in their black sneakers, and I went to school in the same sneakers I played at the Boston Garden in that same night.
What kind of shoes were those?
The Reeboks.
Oh, okay.
But I wore them to school.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And and I kept them on my feet, and I played in Boston Garden at a sold-out thing. And we had a sneaker deal. So there was no reason to do that, but sneakers weren't running the world lately. The sneaker companies run AAU basketball, okay? The sneaker companies run college football. Ask the University of Oregon about that.
Yeah, no.
Okay?
No.
Okay, now, it's crazy. And now today, people build their outfits, Birdie,
based on
around
the
their
shoes.
sneakers.
Yeah. No, I agree with it.
And it's these young kids. It's crazy.
So what was this shoe that was 1.4 million, whatever it was?
So a lot of them are like super like rare, and you have to buy a ticket to even like an online ticket to even get in line to be able to then maybe even buy the shoe. Like it's like you have to get a ticket to get in line, and then maybe you get like a 20-second window where you can buy the shoe. It's like a huge process of like they sell out like this, and it's like you have to like sit there and like spam trying to buy it, but all these bots buy it, and it's like probably a limited shoe that sells for like they make so many limited ones, like one of 20s, one of 100s, but I'll look up which one it was.
So the one that went for 1.4 million or whatever it was that like a vintage shoe from years ago, a vintage pair that just increased
the
in
vintage
value?
pairs do go for a lot, but a lot of the new ones that they make, like I said, like that come out super limited. Those are gonna cost a lot.
1,300, 1,000. Yeah.
But the ones the ones from like the 90s or like the 2000s, early 2000s, if they're in the box still perfect, they'll go for a ridiculous amount.
Listen,
Right?
right?
Right there.
Yeah.
That looks like
Birdie, back in the day, right?
yeah.
Drug dealers, what would they buy to hide their money? Gold, right?
I would guess
Never
something that they could
depreciate.
Yeah.
Right. Gold.
That was one of the things.
Sometimes cars, right?
Yeah.
So, sometimes cars. Now, the hustlers buy sneakers, Birdie. And now, listen to me.
I hear you.
When the cops raid their houses, they're walking out with 100 boxes of sneakers. Riley, am I right or wrong?
Yeah, look, this one right here.
The cops are taking.
Well, they realize
the
the value of them now. Yeah, probably
because they do.
That's the original Jordan shoe from what? Is that like from the 80s?
Yeah, so this is a shoe
what it
that
looks like.
This is a shoe that he wore. I couldn't get the picture, but it says for a shoe that he that belonged to Michael Jordan. So it's reached 1.47 million in an auction. So that's like people just still going for it. That's how much people wanted it, was to auction it all the way up to that much money for a sneaker that he wore, which is crazy because I don't know. What are you gonna do with it? You're just gonna put it in a case, I guess.
Sneakers have become currency. Sneakers are trend influencers. Okay,
obviously.
Sneakers are talked about everywhere. It's absolutely insane. But again, I can say it's the genius of Nike, and God knows how
Phil Knight, was that the guy's name from Oregon?
Yeah.
He's the original guy, right?
Yeah. Well, not the original. Yeah, he's one of the
original guys. You know the funny part about the Jordan thing, and you saw the 30 for 30 was when he was being offered the deal to go to Nike. Remember that? He wanted no part of going up there. His mother had to tell him to get on. Remember, she had to tell him to get on the plane because he was I want to say Puma or Adidas. Yeah. So I guess
Converse. I mean, the first time I've ever seen sneakers on TV was Choose Your Weapon, which was Larry Bird and Michael
absolutely
and Magic Johnson back to back, act like the guns were the sneakers were pistols. Also, along those same lines, a Tom Brady's ball that was given to
That guy's nuts.
That was given to his brother Well, who catches it? Al Evans, right?
Mike Evans
Evans.
caught it.
Evans catches it, gives it to his brother, right?
I don't know if it was his brother, but he gave it to somebody in the crowd. Yeah.
I thought that they said it was his brother. When on the thing that I was watching. Anyway, Tampa Bay security, NFL security go up to him. Now, possession is 9/10 of the law, right? What if that kid said no?
Then you're going to
You're
start
not getting
getting
a football.
into a process of negotiation, I would think.
So you think that kid walks out of that stadium with that ball
I
if
would.
he doesn't give it back?
Hard to say.
I would, not even a question. Dude, the ball was estimated worth $500,000.
$600 now.
Yeah, $600,000. But when it happened, it was estimated $500,000. He got back in return like $3,500. That's it. A signed jersey is only worth like estimated worth like $2,500, and then $1,000 gift card.
But Brady today, now that wasn't from Brady, was it?
No, but that's what the team negotiated. So the guy that came over said, "All right, we'll give you this, and this, whatever." But me, I'm not giving away. I think what I saw, which was really smart. Shannon Sharp said season tickets for life. I think that's super smart.
Yeah.
At least a good start, because even then, I don't think that's gonna worth $500,000. Because
No.
it's gonna. And that goes. It's easy to say, but in like 10 more years, they're probably not gonna be this good again. So I think eventually their tickets are gonna come down. That ball's only gonna get more expensive,
Sure, of course.
and the tickets are gonna come down, and you're still gonna get more on top of that. Like for me, that guy gave up way too much.
That ball could eventually become what those sneakers were valued.
Oh,
over
even
time.
more than that.
Yeah.
Because I think that ball is more valuable because of what happened. Jordan wore that once in 1985, so it wasn't like it was like a NBA Finals Game 6
I hear you.
or Eastern Conference Game 7. Like that was Tom Brady's 600 touchdown pass. Like 600, like that's a landmark number. It was no one ever hit 600 before. He was the first to do it.
Yeah.
That ball could seriously.
And there's a unique story behind
Yes,
it.
yes. And if something.
and that increases the value of
Yeah, exactly,
memorabilia, right?
exactly. Yes, it has to be certain things. Like just this random thing you find is never gonna find value. If there's a story behind it, it's gonna grow, and that's a huge story. That's a 600 touchdown pass in his career.
Sure.
First person to ever hit that. Somebody might hit that. We never know, but he's the first one to ever do that. You can never take that away from him. And for that guy to give it up for. I mean, he's a nice dude to give it up for that because it belongs in the Hall of Fame, which I think it could be going. I don't know if Brady's going to give it to Hall of Fame, but it belongs to either Brady or Hall of
I
Fame.
think that was intimidating. The kid was intimidating.
Yeah, 100%.
So was it Mike Evans' brother or no? Am I wrong about that?
I don't think
I
it
don't
was.
know, Mike.
I don't believe it was, but you might be right. I didn't see anything about saying Mike Evans' brother.
I got a question. How does Mike Evans, who's been with Tom Brady for 2 years, is sitting in with meetings, goes over everything all week, and you don't know that that's his 600 touchdown?
You're in the middle of it, Brady. You're in the middle of it. You're in the middle of it. You catch a touchdown.
yeah. You're in the
it's going
moment.
in 5 seconds.
You're in the moment. Yeah, I know what he's saying, but
I don't think they would have thrown the son of a bitch halfway up the stands. There'd be a riot for that. There'd be a riot for that ball. But
Would you guys have given it back
I would have.
for what they're giving, what they're asking for the signed jersey and the $1,000 gift card for that little?
Well, he's going to get more than that, obviously, but that's just the original.
Well, no, Brady today said, listen, he is going to be taken care of
Yes.
handsomely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He goes,
I don't think he's gonna get taken care
no,
handsomely
no.
$500,000.
No, of course not.
So that's why for me, like as much as like even if I was the biggest Brady fan in the world, like if that happened to Rodgers, like for me, I don't know if I would be like, all right, I want something in return that's gonna give me a good enough value. Like the guy came out and said, oh, I want to play golf with Brady. Like
Yeah, that's
that'd
not
be
gonna happen.
that. I think it could. I really
might
do
do
think it
that.
could.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
Brady
That
would.
could
I think
happen.
Brady will do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
he might.
I don't know. I would just want something in that return because that money is so much. Like that ball's just gonna keep getting more expensive.
Like, okay, right? Let's say this. Let's say you're a working class dude, right? And you're going to pay for, you have a son and daughter that you want to send to college.
Yeah. That's
That ball pays for those.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some. And some.
You know what I mean? And to go to college. You know what I mean? So you never know what's in another man's refrigerator, right? And you never know what's in another man's bank account. So, you know, I don't know. I like to think that I would give the ball back, but I do not think that signed autograph. And what else? What else?
And $1,000 gift card to the Bucks store. Like, how much stuff can you buy for $1,000 at the Bucks
not
store?
nowadays.
Like you're just gonna get like 3-4 jerseys and then like a cup of water. That's what you're gonna get over there. Like it's not much for $1,000 at the Bucks store because the jersey's what, $185-$200 after tax. That's say you want a Brady jersey, a Gronk jersey,
going back
Antonio
to the Bucks.
Exactly. The signed jersey is cool, but it doesn't have as much value as the
course.
ball does. Like
No.
the signed jersey is only estimated at like 2,500. Brady's been around so long. How many signed jerseys do you think are out there?
Yeah.
How many 600
there's
touchdown
one.
passes?
There's
One.
one.
There's like hundreds and
Now, let me
thousands.
ask you a question. They were arguing this last night. Is the touchdown pass 603 worth more than 600 because that's the new ball now?
What do you mean the 603? Like the
Because-
603rd one?
Yeah.
No, I think the 600 because it's a significant
one that
number. You know what I
broke
mean?
it. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
like a 600,
Yeah.
a 500, a 400, or like a 600, 700, 800. If someone, I don't think it'll ever happen, but 1,000.
Then the last TD he throws will probably
Exactly,
be the one with the most
because
value.
that happened to Peyton Manning as well. His last pass he ever threw was to a wide receiver called Benny Fowler. You guys never really heard of him, but
Yeah.
he was on the Broncos. It was a 2-point conversion. That ball is worth something because it's the last pass he ever threw. Eventually, whenever Brady retires, the last ball he ever thrown is going to go through the roof as well because it's the last ball he ever touched on a football field when he was
Can you
playing.
imagine if it was in the end zone in a Super Bowl winning touchdown pass, what the ball would be? Now, don't you think the Smithsonian would come in and take that?
Or the NFL
Yeah.
Hall of
The Hall of Fame, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Now,
Brady has the right to pick where it goes, and right?
I would think so.
I don't know how that
I don't
works.
know.
The
I don't know.
NFL, they copyright everything, and you see how you can't even put the logo up, and they're ready to sue you. So
Maybe we can ask that question in our comment section, O'Reilly. Does Brady have ownership of that ball, or was that a courtesy given him to them by the NFL? That'd be really interesting to find out. Who should have the ball? Should the NFL own the rights to it?
touchy question, because if that kid would have took the ball and then got an attorney, like Riley was saying, I mean, how's that going to play out?
I would.
Are they going to confiscate the security? Going to go over there and grab the ball?
No, because Mike Evans gave it to him.
I don't know. I don't know how it would play.
Because it happens all the time in the NFL. You've seen it when Cam Newton's MVP season. Every time he got a touchdown, he was always giving it to someone, and that was theirs. And Mike Evans was doing the same thing. Like that he was giving it to him, so now it's his.
My ass, they find the shit out of them for throwing the balls in the stands. You know that, right?
Really? No, I didn't know.
Oh
that.
yeah, they do.
It cost them money, so I
It's
mean,
a
whatever.
$5,000 fine, I think.
$5,000?
$5,000.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's nothing to them. So I mean,
Still,
Well, it adds up.
It does add up.
That's
That's
sold
why
600 of them.
yeah, but he didn't give away every single one. You know what I mean? But even then, 600. Yeah, 600 of them would be a lot, but that's still.
Roger Goodell. Yeah, no,
It's weird.
Yeah.
The weird fines a guy. Even they got a fine if they dunk the ball on the post. If you jump up and put the ball through the post, that's a fine as well and
Why?
a penalty.
Why?
I don't know because
The No Fun League.
yeah, it's what NFL stands for.
I'll tell you right now. Roger Goodell could fuck up a free lunch. Thank God he runs a business that is impenetrable and indomitable, and it's just
like
never.
I've always said, they print their own money.
Oh yeah, they do. They certainly do, for sure. Okay, now that we got all these interesting caveats out of the way, let's go to the steak and potatoes of this. Birdie, have you recovered from the trauma that the Red Sox dropped on you?
Yes, and I'm going to explain to you why.
Okay.
Because going into
10 hits.
Yeah, I know it's
all right,
horrible.
all right.
No, I got no argument over the performance because it was atrocious over 3 games. The tease is what aggravated me more than anything else. You're 2 games away from the World
Sure.
Series, and it's that close, and you're scoring all those runs, and your expectations went from here all of a sudden to here. But I give him a pass, and the reason why I give him a pass is because what were the expectations going into the season?
Sure.
What were the expectations going into the playoffs?
Sure. And for this, because I know you're going to say, because I said the same thing if we talk about 100 times off camera and probably 15 times on camera. Okay. Who needs to step up to make this Red Sox team a little bit more bulletproof and a little better?
Next year?
Is it Alex Cora? Is it Bloom? Or is it John Henry?
What, for next year?
Yeah.
Well, the only way I can answer that is based on what they did at the trade deadline. Are they going to try to continue to run the franchise in the Tampa Bay mode? and have the payroll reduced. We've seen them do that. We've seen them bring Bloom in from Tampa and go that route. So we'll see what they do in free agency. We're going to have to wait to see.
This year, the payroll was what?
I thought it was like high middle, not really near the top, not really in the middle, but sort of like a little bit in the middle. Not where it normally was.
Anything high middle to the top.
Yeah.
I can deal with. If they try to do the Tampa model.
They were number 7, so they
Okay,
were fairly high.
They were a little higher than
So
I
the
thought.
teams ahead of them were Astros by about $3 million, then Padres about $6 million ahead of them. Los Angeles Angels was $12 million ahead of us, and then $16 million was the Mets, and then about $29 million ahead of us was the Yankees, and then $44 million ahead of us was the Dodgers. The Dodgers had a significant. The most in the league, but they were more almost by $20 million more than the second place.
And I don't know if that's before they signed Scherzer and Turner, so that may even be the Dodger payroll may even be higher than that.
Yeah.
Well, getting back to your question though, whether the Red Sox are going to be evaluated on what they do in the offseason with free agency, JD Martinez I believe is coming up for contract.
Sign him.
Devers is going to be a key guy. I don't know if he's coming up yet, but that's a kid that you cannot let go at his age, and he's going to be looking at a big contract. So hopefully they got him on another year. I definitely want to see Schwarber come back. I don't know what the contract negotiations are on that. Their alternative in the offseason is going to be to shore up the starting pitching and shore up the bullpen. I like the starting team they have if they retain it and bring everybody back, the team on the field. And the lineup.
But the Renfro's and the
yes, well, you can tinker a little bit with some of those guys, but pitching's going to be the main category that you're going to want to address.
I'd like to see them spend 30% of their operating, 30% of what they're going to commit to free agents, which we don't know what that number is going to be, on an offensive bat, and put the rest of it in pitching.
The Atlanta Braves were number 15, so dead middle of the MLB, and they made the World Series.
Now, is that before before trade deadline, or is that because after the trade deadline, some of those
that was heading into 2021, so it'd be higher.
Some of these teams are a little deceptive because they made Atlanta made a lot of moves at the trade deadline.
I think that is true to form, and a lot of people thought we should have made some more moves. I know we made one right move.
Well, Schwarber was definitely a great move for them.
Well, we needed more than that, and we need to spend in the offseason for sure.
But it was one hell of a ride, so no complaints.
The NBA gets off to a wild start. Celtics start 0-2, win a depleted Houston Rockets team last night. They get a big game against LaMelo Ball, who everyone is talking about. With a 6'8" point guard with skills like skills like Pistol Pete. This kid is taking the NBA by storm. Celtics fans will get to see him tonight. But Celtics start 0-2. They get a win. Trouble in LA. LA gets their first win by 2 points against a gritty Memphis team. But Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis fighting.
I saw that.
Game 2, right, on the sidelines.
On the bench, yeah.
It should be right near the bench, yeah.
Well, the only thing I'll say about that is if you're going to have problems with your team like that, you want to have it now, not at the end of the year going into the playoffs. So you can resolve it now. It's early in the year, and whatever issues they have, straighten them out, get rid of somebody. It ain't going to be AD, obviously. It'll probably be Howard, so I'm sure LeBron will square it away.
But that didn't look like a normal, getting in your face. Yeah. Like, he was pushing him hard, and and they had to get in between them, and Anthony Davis was still reaching over to try to grab him.
Anthony Davis was
didn't look
off.
it did not look good.
No. And let me tell you something on Anthony Davis. He conducts himself as a gentleman. He's mild-mannered. He's a type B personality. He's quiet. So we know Dwight Howard has a history of being an asshole. Okay,
that's correct.
And he must have really, really pissed him off from the get that. And you know what's so amazing of how the big guy, right, Anthony Davis, was moving another big guy some to the size around.
Yeah, no.
Because when he grabbed him, Dwight Howard didn't have nothing for him. Do you see that?
He's a big physical guy, Dwight Howard too. Yeah.
But he's not. But see how much bigger Davis is than him. It's freaky. It is absolutely freaky. So there's trouble in LA. Although Carmelo responds for a big game, my man. We talked about LaMelo Ball, And has anybody seen Zion? I feel so bad. I mean, I don't know, bad's the right word to put, but like this guy is the face of your franchise.
That's correct.
This guy arguably could be a top 5 player NBA in popularity. Okay? What blew my mind when the Pelicans coaching staff and ownership and management says, oh my God, we haven't seen him like this. So that means to tell me, right?
Really?
They tell me that nobody's checking in with this guy in the offseason.
That's what it sounds like.
Are you fucking crazy?
Oh.
With all the people you have on staff, you can't send, hi, hey Zion, the team just wanted to drop this off for you and your family here. Here's 100 pairs of sneakers and 100 Pelican jerseys for your neighborhood in South Carolina. Yeah, go crazy. Or here's this. And see him and make eye contact with him.
Number 1 pick in the draft, if I'm not mistaken, right? And they,
I'm not sure if
he was.
was he number 1?
For
And
sure.
you got how much money do you have invested in this kid? And you just disconnect like that? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
I don't think as soon as that draft happened, as soon as the Pelicans got number 1 pick, I was like, he's going to be out of there. And as soon as his rookie contract is done, I don't know why anybody would want to play for that franchise. Like Anthony Davis they had the 2 best big men in the league at the time with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and they couldn't do anything at all. And Anthony Davis was the best big man in the league for so long, they couldn't do anything at all. And I'm not a huge Zion fan. Like you're probably one of the lowest ones you'll find, and I didn't really like him coming out of the draft that much.
Why.
I just don't think his body is gonna hold up, and I don't think his play style is made for the NBA right now. Like he can't really shoot, and all those big men are shooting now. Like look at Jokic, who just won the MVP.
He does have a game that is more of a throwback
Exactly.
to a more physical time.
I don't know if that would work.
He's still growing too. How old is he? 20?
Yeah.
But
20
his body is so his upper body's so big. Like I feel like he's gonna be injured so much, and we've already seen that. Like he's played probably a handful of games already, and he's been in the league for 3 years already, 3 years, and he's already didn't even start this season. I think his rookie season he didn't even get to start it out. Like he hasn't been playing much, and injuries might riddle him his whole career because of how his knees are and for his whole body.
And the worst thing for somebody with that body type and someone who's playing 86 games a year and practicing all that thing is to carry extra weight.
Yeah.
All right, so the people out there that are listening that don't know what I'm talking about, okay? Put a 30-pound weight vest on you and then walk around your day. Sit at your desk with it on your back, right? Walk around and see how the pressure not only hurts your back but hurts your feet. You know what I mean? Do that, and you will see. And shame on the Pelicans for not protecting their. I mean, ultimately it comes down to Zion, but they need to be a little bit more in touch than what they were. Okay, transfer to football. 6-pack of questions left over from this week. Do we have a fantasy investment update, fellas? How do we do? So we're right below the money, right?
Oh, agony and pain, Riley.
It's all right.
We
Not every
finished 1 score out of at least getting doubling whatever we put into it and getting our money back. 1 touchdown or 1 play underneath. 133 was the number we needed to connect with. I believe I had 127, and Riley was right on my tail, 124. So we were both there, but we just didn't have enough to
I'll
get
tell you
over
what, if I take any other quarterback that's around the cost, like a Kyler Murray or Rodgers, instead of Lamar, Lamar really disappointed my team. But if I take Kyler Murray or Rodgers, I'm getting the money and I'm doubling
That's why you're a genius, because you had all the difficult decisions in place.
Yeah.
The one person that you thought that you could count on, my dude.
I messed up.
You didn't mess up. He messed up.
Yeah.
We did the same thing because both our teams were handicapped lost because of the quarterback.
Yeah, it's just sometimes in fantasy you can do all the research you want. You can sit there, look at it, and there's just so much luck that goes into it. And it just wasn't our day. And the rest, there could be 4 more weeks where Lamar could score 45 points, and then the week I go to pick him, he could score another 14. It's just the luck of when you pick it, when you don't pick it. So especially in the daily fantasy football where you have to pick a new team every time. At least in a redraft, if I had Lamar, If he had one game where it was 14 and the rest of his weeks were 45, I could live with it because he's on my team forever. And the one where you pick, you just got to get lucky on the weeks you pick him, weeks you don't pick him. So we're right there. But next week we're going right back at it, and we're going to get it.
Another week.
Exactly.
Top 6 questions. According to me, Brady, you have a couple too. I think we talked about.
No, just trivia.
The Kansas City Chiefs, will they make the playoffs? And is KC that bad, or is Tennessee that good?
Wow.
They're making the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, I got concerns.
I still think they can win the division
right now.
I really hope they don't make it, but I think they can win the division. I think if they beat the Chargers whenever they play the Chargers again, they definitely could win the division. But I think they might win the division, but I do definitely believe they'll make the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind they come in as a 7 or 6 seed, even a 5 seed, or even like a 4 seed in first place in the AFC West. What do you think, Birdie?
Here's my concern with the Chiefs, and it's a major, major concern. You have going into that game a serious problem on one side of the ball. Now you're starting to see questions on both sides of the ball. Not as bad as on the defense, but there's some concerns with the offense all of a sudden.
And for the first time, the blame is being laid at the feet of Mahomes because they say he's looking downfield too much and not taking his checks.
Well, here's the biggest problem with the Chiefs right now. When you get behind in a game and you're chasing a game all the time, they were down 17-0 in the blink of an eye in that game. Now, you have to throw the ball all day, and the defense is just going to tee off on you. And they've been playing like that, seems like, all year. The Chiefs get behind. Good. Have Mahomes trying to bail them out.
Very dangerous.
They're in trouble. I'm not going to go yet and say they're done, but they are in some serious trouble right now.
Listen, the Broncos just made a ridiculous trade, and no one really knows about it, but they absolutely washed the Rams in a trade. They traded for the Rams linebacker for like a 6th round pick or like a 7th round pick, and they got, I don't understand how they made that trade. If the Chiefs can go out and make a trade like that for a corner that maybe the Panthers don't want or the Ravens don't want, and go out and get somebody like that, because obviously the Rams, I don't know what they were thinking, but if the Chiefs can do that, then they'll be fine. And I still think with the team that they have, with Tyreek Hill, with Travis Kelce, Mahomes, like, they have too many weapons to not make the playoffs, and calls are gonna go their way. We always talk about how the best players get the calls. I think their time is gonna be coming soon.
They're taking on water. They better do something quick.
So, do the Chiefs make the playoffs, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, I'm just going to have to give a yes, but with a lot of trepidation about them right now.
By the hairs of their chinny chin, okay? But what tangible evidence do we have to suggest that from this year?
That they make it?
Yeah, that they make it from this year, not last year.
They had a really good game.
Hold on, remember, this team was supposed to be better. That they're going to be able to protect Mahomes more. They got the guy from the Ravens, the offensive lineman.
Yes,
everything was supposed to be better for them.
Well, the problem with the Chiefs is they're just not physical enough. They're just getting beat up right at the start of these games. Buffalo came in, punched them in the mouth. Tennessee came right out of the gate and punched them in the mouth. And there was no response in that last game. So
I would love to see dollars spent per side of the ball for that franchise equation.
Well, right. He made a very good point at the beginning of the season when we were arguing about Mahomes, and he said how handicapped they were going to be because of the contract they gave him as far as moving forward.
And it's starting a lot quicker than I thought it was going to start. Like, I thought it was going to be another 2 years or 3 years until they start, like, becoming on the decline of his contract. But if it starts now, they could be in a big serious hole for a long time, and nobody would love it more than me. So I really hope they don't make it, but I just don't see a way where they don't.
The trade deadline is next Tuesday, so
yeah, it's huge.
We'll keep an eye on the trade the trade wire coming up.
Are the Patriots that good, or are the Jets that bad, Birdie? Inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, this is my take on the Patriots. I believe this game this week at the Chargers is a playoff game for the Patriots. I believe that if they win this game, they'll have a very good chance to get on.
I think they're going to make the.
But I believe if they lose this week to San Diego, I think that they're going to go revolve right back into the.
How many playoff spots are there?
There's seven, but I want to throw the same thing that all the Pats fans were throwing out to me when the Broncos were 3-0. What teams did you guys beat? The Jets twice and the Texans once. I mean, you haven't. Every serious team you've played, you've lost to, and a playoff team doesn't do that. And that's the same thing for the Broncos. The Broncos, every serious team they've played, they've lost to. Like, playoffs teams don't do that. I want to see them win a game, not look good, but win a game against a good team.
Yeah,
you can look good all you want, but you need to win to get to the playoffs.
Well, that's why I think this game this week is imperative for them. If they have any chance to make the playoffs, they'd better win this week. And
it's in LA, right?
There's a big reason why they're at a big disadvantage this week. You saw what Belichick did yesterday to the Jets. Now,
Birdie, don't go there.
hold on. There's a line from The Godfather, Mike. It's strictly business, nothing personal. Well, yesterday was not business for the Patriots. That was personal.
I don't know. I don't know if I trust them.
Topic pick. But I want to go back to what Riley said, because what Riley says definitely has merit. But let me throw the counter argument to that, Birdie, okay?
Yeah, no, I'll go.
They lose to Tampa Bay because the ball hits the uprights, right? Could have won that game, and they could have beat Dallas. Now, ifs and buts and candy and nuts and every day be Christmas, we know that. But how do you respond to that, Riley, as a counter to your argument that they haven't beaten anybody good?
They didn't win it. That's all. Like, in the playoffs, you have to win to move on. To get to the playoffs, you have to win. You can't. Sure. They don't give the Patriots extra points because they lost better than the Broncos.
It's not like college basketball when they take quality losses into
Exactly.
Right?
Like the Patriots aren't going to move ahead of the Broncos who have the same record as them just because they looked better in their losses. They both have the same record. They both won 3 games against 3 shit teams, and they both lost all 4 games against real teams that they were playing against. So the Patriots need to win against real teams or teams that, like the Dolphins, that loss, you need to beat the Dolphins again. If you don't beat the Dolphins again, you're not making the playoffs. And they need to beat the Panthers, who they have coming up on their schedule, I believe. Yeah. They also have, I forget who
they're done with the Jets, and they got to play Buffalo.
Exactly,
twice.
Buffalo twice. I don't see them beating Buffalo once at all. I don't see that happening. It's going to be a rough road, and they need to win a couple of games where I'm saying I don't see it. Like the Buffalo game, you need to grab one of those. You need to grab another game where they're underdogs.
You got to be 9-8 to get a wild card, baby.
I don't think in the AFC.
How strong your conference is.
Not in the AFC.
10-7.
I think around there because right now the number 1 team in the AFC is the Bengals at 5-2. The Ravens are 4-3, right? Or 5? No, the Ravens are 5-2. The Ravens are 5-2 as a wild card team.
4-2.
So if you take the Ravens at 5-2 at a wild card team, you got the Browns at 4-3 at a wild card team. So if those 2 teams both go 10-7, one of them goes 11-6, the Bengals go 12-5. The Patriots got to be 10-7 or around there to make it in, because you still got the Raiders who are 5-2 as well.
Yeah.
So
the division champs from there are going to get there.
Exactly.
Get the Chargers.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Potentially the Chiefs.
You can only lose like 5, 6, 7 games. That's it.
Can I tell you something right now, though? And I never thought I'd say this. This year, if the Patriots were a stock right now, I'd buy it.
I'm not so sure about that just yet. I got to see it this week. There
is some type of stock market a betting thing, right? About prospecting teams and players and stuff like that. That's available online.
I'm sure there is.
I saw something about it.
The problem with the Patriots is 3 wins: Jets, Texans. Yeah,
you talked about Bill Belichick, right?
Yep.
Strictly business, this happened 20-something years ago. You said it was all personal.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is personal, not business. That's personal what he did to the Jets yesterday.
How long ago did that happen?
1997, 98, maybe.
I thought Belichick was on drugs with his resignation letter. Did you ever see that? He wrote it in crayon. I resign as HC of the NYJs or something like that.
There was a lot of animosity between him and Parcells after that.
And the organization too.
I'm looking at the playoff picture right now, and I don't see a way the Patriots get in, because even the Chiefs are not even in the playoffs right now, and to me that's not even a question. I think the Chiefs have a better team than the Patriots.
And don't sleep on the Colts either.
The Colts as well. The Steelers are 3-3.
The Colts
They're ahead of the Patriots right now.
Definitely healthy, and that's a serious team.
The Browns are ahead of them at 4-3. The Chargers are ahead of them at 4-2. The Ravens at 5-2. And the Patriots are right there at number 9 at 3-4. And the Colts, Chiefs, and Broncos are all tied.
And doesn't that give credence to just lock in and play every Sunday to every Sunday and not look ahead?
Absolutely.
If there's one sport, if there's one sport you gotta do that in, that's in. Okay, on this show, I predicted it. the Las Vegas Raiders would rally without John Gruden.
2 for 2.
And they have.
Well,
Are you buying it, Riley? Are you buying the Raiders circling the wagons?
I noticed he asked you. You didn't ask me.
No, I've seen it way too many times with the Raiders where everyone's like, oh, they're so good, and they win so many games and they don't do nothing in the playoffs.
AFC West bias has no
No,
influence.
I don't think that their receivers are that good, and I don't believe in their defense that much. I think when they come up against a real,
how about the mojo and the chemistry? Because they're overachieving.
That's fine too, but they beat the Ravens, which is a good win. But they beat the Ravens before the Ravens became the Ravens team that they are now.
Well, what are the Ravens now? Because I'm still confused about the Ravens.
They lost to arguably the best team in the AFC right now. I kept saying that the Bengals are a real deal. The Bengals are a real deal. The Bengals were, if you want to do the ifs and buts, the Bengals were one play away from beating the Packers, and then
they're very good.
They could be one loss right now. They're really good.
I wouldn't put them ahead of Buffalo just yet.
I'm just saying I'm saying arguably they're the best team in the AFC. I mean, I still think the Ravens are great, but
you think the Ravens are a Super Bowl candidate?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I got to, like you said, got to see Lamar in January, and that was an example of that game yesterday where he did not look good in the second half, but we'll see.
That's what happens to the best of them.
But the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Get back to the Raiders real quick. What you hit on, I believe, and you said this in the previous show, of Gruden leaving there. There might have been a lot of players on that roster that did not like John Gruden.
Look, the quarterback is
one
of them.
And all of a sudden now, it's like a breath of fresh air. And that coach for the Raiders.
And then in the locker room, they're like, everybody thinks we're done.
Yeah,
everybody thinks we're all done. Everything's about this is about the coach. But how many touchdowns does the coach practice? How many sprints does he run? How many weights does he lift? Blah, blah, blah. And you know something? That is intangible. And every year, somebody has it.
That and the fact that this coach is very well liked, and they were very pleased with the hire. All the players said that they wanted this
special teams coach who had been there for 15 years.
I keep an eye on the Raiders.
They just lost Jacobs as well. He's not going to be playing next week. And Waller, who's their best offensive player, didn't play this week either, and he could be out for some time too. So they need to win without them to keep it up.
Fine, they got Drake as the backup running back. Waller, though, I agree with you. That's a big loss, but we'll see.
Deshaun Watson.
Oof.
The plot thickens. Now they're talking about potential criminal charges. Mortensen said on Max Kellerman's show today, I heard it, they're thinking about a minimum of 6-game suspension. They polled some general managers, a handful of them said that if the 6-game suspension was this year, they would take them. Next year, they're not so sure. Him being out of football, blah, blah, blah. Lots of intangibles flying around. What is going to happen? Does he deserve... what is an equitable penalty?
Well, they're going to give him a 6-game suspension right now based on what, though?
No, that's what they're alleging. That's what the people who get paid.
Okay.
That's what the people who get paid to do this shit.
Okay.
This is Chris Mortensen. This is NFL
I
Insiders.
understand. All right, I understand. Here's the problem right now. Deshaun Watson, the trade deadline's November 2nd, and he, without the suspension coming up, it always looked like there was a chance that he was going to be moved. There's some teams already throwing names and numbers around. Now you throw that suspension in there, and then the possibility of these criminal charges, that kind of puts a monkey wrench into it, and it might quell things.
No, he gets suspended whether it's criminal charges or not.
Okay.
But if it's criminal charges, he may go to jail.
Yeah.
And they'll take the decision not everybody's sick because he's not going to be.
The more this drags on, and then somebody said this earlier in the end, I didn't believe it was going to be true, but the more I'm thinking he's not going to be playing at all this year, and it's going to come down on what's going to happen with this, how this plays out, and then we're going to see him next year. Hopefully, we'll see what.
Let me ask you a question, Riley.
Yes,
Does Deshaun Watson ever see a Pro Bowl again in the National Football League?
Yeah, this sounds crazy, but before everything happened, I thought Watson could be better than Mahomes could be in his career. I think Watson has ridiculous skill in the league, and he does it with nothing on his team. Like he had Hopkins for a good amount of time, which I'll give him. But the year that he didn't have Hopkins, he led the league in passing yards.
That's correct.
On a 4-12 Texans team. That was the worst team in the league. Then
correct.
they traded all of their picks away, and they had no first-round picks the next year. That's how bad this team is. Look at this team. And he threw for 4,000, I think, like 700 yards, more than Rodgers, more than Brady, more than Stafford. Those names out there, he threw for more than him. Watson, for me, has... If you're ranking off of age, he's top 2 young quarterback in the league, top 5 quarterback in the league overall, age included for anybody. I absolutely love him, his skill wise. I think he's going to be ridiculous in this league, still will be. He's still young. He's 26 years old. He still has like another 10, 15 years left in him. So I think he'll definitely make more than one Pro Bowl and coming up. Every year he plays, he'll probably make a Pro Bowl.
Now, we understand the difference between criminal and civil charges, correct?
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
if I am Deshaun Watson and his legal team, if he's going to go on Oprah's couch or apologize or forfeit his salary to abuse the women, do what you got to do. Because you want to keep them charges civil. Because more important than throwing touchdowns, and you know by your 20 years behind the wall,
Well, he's got enough
is
money.
being in a cell.
He's got enough money to be able to possibly make it go away. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, you don't make criminal charges go
No,
away.
no, I'm talking about the civil stuff.
charges.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
And are you in agreement with me that he needs to keep this civil?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whether he needs to keep it civil or if he has the ability to, that's a whole different story.
Sure. But what if it goes to criminal? Now he's
Then
definitely
it's
going
out
to get
of
a
his hands.
mandatory suspension from the NFL, and then he might spend the next 4 or 5 years of his life
Whatever
behind the
happens
cell.
after that, it's while
Who knows?
he'll be suspended. Then where it goes from there, who knows?
Sure. For a young man who had a spotless record, right?
Yeah,
At college,
Pretty much.
everything. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. The power of your sexual appetite has got many a men in trouble.
Well, especially when you got that kind of money too, I guess.
Last question of the 6-pack of questions. Max Kellerman said today that after we analyze it, since his Cliff proclamation, Tom Brady's had 3 Hall of Fame careers already. He said he's working on a possible 4th just in Tampa. Okay? Just in Tampa. Riley, I'm going to give this to you because I want to see where you're going to take it. Is Tom Brady the front runner for MVP of the National Football League right now?
I like Kyler Murray right now.
Yeah.
The team, they're 7-0. No one really expected that to happen. I mean, if you did, then you're lying to yourself because no one saw the Cardinals coming 7-0. And everyone knew the Buccaneers were going to be one of the best teams in the league.
And that was the most intelligent argument brought up, that saying that he's absolutely in contention for the MVP. He says, but if it right now, it would be Murray for the exact reasons that you said so.
Yeah, I really like what Murray's doing. That whole team being 7-0, they just look really, really, really good. And another thing with the Bucks, a lot of their games that they've won, again, not great teams. Like the Cowboys, I'm not a huge fan of that team, but everyone's considering them, so I'll give them that win. That's a really good win. Yeah. The Falcons, not good. The Rams, one of the best teams in the league, they lost to them. Yeah. The Patriots. Yeah. They're the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Eagles, and then the Bears. So not many huge wins, but
how about how they're winning now?
Yes, that looks great. I get it. But I'm just saying I don't believe he. I think it should be Murray as long as they stay number 1 in the NFC. If the Cardinals fall back to like a wild card team at like 10-7 and they pull the Steelers the Steelers went 11-0 and they lose 5 straight. I don't see the Cardinals doing that. No. But if the Cardinals fall to if they stay the number 1 team in the NFL and they have the best record in the NFL, I believe it should be Murray as long as his numbers stay where they are, keep going good. It can't be Murray if they stay number 1 and Murray's like decent. Like he has to be the most valuable player. You know what I mean? Like he has to keep those numbers up.
If Tampa Bay, because their division that they play in is considerably weaker than the NFC West, which the Rams and the Cardinals got to battle, and there's a few more. All right. If Tampa Bay is able to maintain home field advantage in the NFC, do they become your prohibitive favorite, Riley, to get to the Super Bowl?
Well, right now they don't have home field advantage because the Cardinals would at number 1. But
I'm talking about that division beating itself up.
I'm looking at the schedule right now. They don't have like any games coming up that I would think that they would lose other than the Bills. Like they got the Saints, the Redskins, the Giants, the Colts, the Falcons, the Bills. So out of all those games, the Bills is by far the hardest one, and I'd pick the Buccaneers to win all of these with the points. Maybe the Bills when I don't, but even then it's in Tampa. Then you got the Saints again, the Panthers, the Jets, and the Panthers. So they could literally go 15-2, or they could not even lose another game for the rest of the season. So at that point, it depends how great they're looking, because I just don't see many games where it's like, okay, this is a playoff team. In this run, they could face one playoff team. In their whole schedule, they could face 2 playoff teams the whole year, and the Cowboys and the Bills. And if they lose both of those games, I'm not picking them anywhere near my Super Bowl, because if you win every game and you go 15-2, it looks great. But once you deep dive into the numbers, and if they lose to the only 2 playoff teams they faced, and even the Rams, who are going to be a playoff team, they lost to them. So to me, I don't know. Just I have to see how it goes for the rest of their schedule. The schedule is not strong, but like I said before, you can only play the teams that are in front of you. They didn't pick this. It's not their fault. They're winning in fashion, which is a great way to win. They're not winning by close margins. They're blowing everybody out. So I want the Bills game is one that I'm circling and watching that carefully.
The Colts game too. Colts are capable of beating Tampa.
Well,
I don't think so.
Quick on Tampa. Now, did Antonio Brown didn't play yesterday? Am I correct with that?
Yeah,
I believe
Antonio
so.
Brown and Gronk.
Okay, Gronk was out. David, the linebacker, was out the week before. The secondary was a disaster, and they're still hammering teams. They get healthy and everybody there. They're the favorite to win.
But the offenses that they're playing again. The Bears, one of the worst offenses in the league. The Eagles can't run the ball for anything. They gave this guy 2 rushing yards a game.
How cruel is the NFL on rookie quarterbacks sometimes, man? Wow.
You put him in the wrong week.
Wow.
In the wrong
I felt bad for
situation.
Justin Fields, man. Somebody should have came up to him when he was slunking on the bench and picked him up and says, "Let's throw the ball on the sidelines. Let's get moving." You see how he was sitting on a bench like that? He looked like he was in shock.
Everybody was calling for his name to start. Why is he not starting? Why is he not starting?
We know
Now
why
he
he's
throws.
not starting.
Now he throws 3 interceptions a game, and he looks terrible. I mean, the Bucs defense, the Bucs secondary is not that great, and this guy came out and threw 3 interceptions, couldn't do anything. And he came out in preseason saying, "Oh, the NFL is kind of slow." I mean, not very slow now, is it? I mean, you can't throw a touchdown to save your life. So I don't know.
I don't know. I do not know. Well, that's my 6-pack of hot questions. Birdie, what do you have? Can we announce the winner of last week's? And I think I'm ready to stand in victory again.
I don't know. I have no idea.
We have one more game today on Monday.
What's the score?
We're gonna right now. Me and Birdie are tied.
Yeah, and then who's in first?
You're in first.
Well, how many games?
Wow.
Not enough for us to catch up.
All right.
So it is over.
Yeah, so that's 2 weeks in a row, right? I think.
No. Birdie won last week.
Birdie won last week.
Yeah.
All right.
That's your first win for the
Since we've been counting.
First win for this for the normal season, I believe.
No, I have 2.
2?
2. Yeah, I got 2.
Okay, so you have 2. Birdie has I think 3, and then I have 2 as well.
Anyway, getting back to when what stood out, what I saw yesterday, watching about 8 hours of football. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are the number 1 tandem in all of football, no question about that.
Not next week.
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase
Whoa,
right now, and I was completely wrong.
Whoa, there's Baton Rouge.
I was
Baton Rouge.
yelling when they took this kid in the draft, saying it might be a mistake to take him over Sewell, who Sewell is a bookend offensive lineman who could be a generational stud. But there, right now, Jamar Chase
Chase
or whatever.
has the best
He is
start in
making
NFL history.
Eat my words, boy! This kid looks like the real deal, and with him and with the combination with him and Burrow right now, wow! That's all I can say.
Look out now.
Look out!
What a story that'd be if Joe Burrow could lead from Northern Iowa to lead the miserable Cincinnati Bengals to a Super Bowl. That would be an amazing story.
That was the
right
good,
there.
And the bad was what happened to the Ravens and what happened to the Chiefs yesterday. So we'll see.
How about what happened to the Jets?
Yeah, but the Jets, you
suspect it.
that. Yeah,
you suspect it.
Lamar Jackson to get completely shut down in the second half. You don't expect Patrick Mahomes to go in there
Score
and
3 points?
His worst game that I've ever seen him play. I mean,
Bad body language.
Yeah, 3 points.
Yeah.
The Titans defense isn't that great, and it was 3 points. The 27. I was talking to Brady before the thing. Derrick Henry didn't have a crazy game. He averaged 3 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Like if you said, "Oh, the Titans are gonna blow out the Chiefs," I'd have been like, "Oh, Henry."
And the Tennessee didn't score in the second half, did they?
They didn't score much.
I thought it
'Cause
was
it was-
28-3 at halftime. I might have been wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
like
just the
17-0 or something like that. But that game was over early. It was no coming back. You could tell, like you said, the body language. Kansas City was done by the second half in that game.
Well, it's the NFL, and it's not for boys. It's a man's league, for sure.
Now,
guys, what do you got
We're
here?
going to do the trivia question.
Okay, let's go.
Before we get to the end here. All right. This is NBA trivia. What I'll do is, one of you guys will go first. Once I ask the question, if you know the answer, just refrain, and then I'll ask the other guy. But this is a tough question.
right,
I
let's hear
heard this on Fox the other day. I was a little surprised by this. There's only one player in NBA history that has scored 20,000 points and has 10,000 assists. If you know the answer, don't say. Do you know the answer? Yes or no?
Yeah,
I
think you
I
100% know
know.
the answer?
Go ahead, Mike.
You think? Wait, don't say nothing. You know
Go, Mike. Go, Mike. Go.
I'm asking you if you know the answer.
I think I do, but I'm gonna hear Mike's go.
All right, so now you get first crack at it. He thinks he's got
Isaiah Thomas.
Who?
Isaiah Thomas.
No. Okay, so now you think the answer. So I'm going to give him another crack, but I have to give him a hint now.
No. He let him go then. Then I'll
He
go.
Yeah.
says he knows it, so he might answer.
I
it.
no,
So if he
I'm gonna
knows-
go.
If he knows it, he
You
wins.
get 3 tries at it.
All right.
So
Let
it's
him go,
so
let him
it's
go.
20,000 points,
20,000 points.
10,000.
Only one player in NFL.
LeBron James.
No.
No.
That's why I asked you if you're 100% sure. Okay, so now that was your first crack at it. Now you're going to get the second crack. I'm going to give you 2 hints. It's not a center and it's not a forward. It's a guard.
Yeah, I would say that. So 20,000 points,
Yep.
10,000 assists.
And 10,000 assists.
and it's a god.
It's a guard.
What?
It was on Fox. The question was on Fox.
I got it.
It was on the radio. I was listening to Fox Sports Radio, and I heard this, and I was like, wow.
I got my answer.
Okay. He's still on
I
the
know.
clock.
I know. I got my answer.
Iverson.
No,
Magic Johnson.
that's incorrect. Okay.
Damn.
Last chance at this now. I'm going to give you
Okay.
one more hint. I'm not going to name the team because if I give you the team, you're going to get it. But I'm going to tell you that this guy played with about 5 or 6 different NBA teams, and that's the last hint you get. You're on the clock.
All right, ready?
Nah, you're last.
I know, I'm gonna
Who's
think.
going up next?
5 or 6 different NBA teams.
Played at least 5 that I can.
Chauncey Billups.
You're off the clock. You're done.
Go ahead.
You gotta give me some time. Hold on.
All right.
Because
I was blown away by this when I heard this. That this
ooh,
is
this guy's close.
the only guy in NBA.
I don't think it's
history
him
that's
though. 5 or 6 teams.
Played about. I would say at least 5 that I can come up with at the top of my head if I can write them down. But if I tell you, I could name the teams, but it's gonna.
Yeah.
Played with the Clippers.
Hold on. No. He doesn't get a
That's the one
chance.
team.
You're up.
Oh, it's Chris Paul.
Bingo.
It's Chris Paul.
There it is.
He was. I was between. I was between.
I should have had that.
I was between
Blown away by that.
CP3.
Only guy in NBA history, though, Mike, for those numbers, Chris Paul.
Well, I think LeBron's gonna be up there. 'Cause that's why I said LeBron. Because
That was
if you look at LeBron's
a
numbers,
good
he's
question.
gonna finish number 1 in points and then top 5, top 3 in assists. So it's crazy.
I like how you delivered it too, Birdie. It's BadCatz Sports Bash. You know how we do it. It's Rowdy Riley, the Birdman, and the Hurricane.
You're up.
Peace.